Welcome to the Missouri Freedom Initiative. It's Thursday, everyone. It's April 14th. It's 2022, and we have a lot to talk about tonight. I'd like to say hello to Voodoo. Voodoo, could you give me a 5x5? Let me know if you can hear me okay. And while you're doing that, I know there's a delay, I'd like to say hello to everyone in the Discord joining us tonight. We have Ben from Show Me Integrity tonight. We have Ganai Scott. We have Liberty Revolutionary, also known as Caleb. We have Missouri Liberty Report, also known as John. We have Rebel Cry with us. And, of course, the esteemed Robert E. Smith is with us as well. And Sheraton Farmers on the YouTube side giving us a 5x5. Awesome. Thank you very much. And Voodoo's given a 5x5. Okay, great. That way I know you guys can hear. All right, guys, I'll tell you what. Before we get into the main show tonight, I just want to do the call to action. And the call to action actually is to call Dean Plocher. So if you see on your screen here, Dean Plocher is actually the floor leader in the Missouri House of Representatives. And there's a lot of bills that he's holding on to. You guys know the bills. I'm going to go through them really quickly, and during the show, I will link them down in the description section. Number one, well, actually, HJR 79 is a topic tonight. We're not going to do that right now. HB 1613. Remember that one? Ending civil asset forfeiture in the state of Missouri. That's a bill that we've been following. We need to push it through. So let's go ahead and call up Dean Plocher and let him know that we want 1613. Let's email Dean Plocher as well as for the other bills. HB 1992. Elimination of sales tax for grocery store food. We definitely want that. We need Dean Plocher to give us a date for that. Next one, HB 2009. This is an interesting one, and we're going to get into more detail on this tonight because we have more details on this. And it comes from our very own Ron Calzone at MissouriFirst.org. He did a write-up on this. So we need HB 2009 on the floor. Next, HB 2118. We need that on the floor as well. Let's see, 1462. We need, and that's it. I forgot 2704, and that's the marijuana bill. So those are the ones that we're emailing and calling Dean Plocher about. Let's, guys, we're running out of time here, and because of all the nonsense that went on with redistricting, we're losing on time. Now, we're going to talk about HJR 79 and bills like it here in just a few minutes. But I wanted to also, at the beginning of the video, remind everyone, April 26th, that's Rally Day up in Jefferson City. That's when we want to be up in Jefferson City to talk to our representatives and our senators. And it's sponsored by our good friends at Missouri Conceal Carry. And that's a great time to rap with your rep. And to, basically go ahead and talk to your senator, too. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start the conversation tonight by talking about HJR 79. I'll bring it back up on the screen for a little bit here. And since we have Show Me Integrity here, and they have a lot to say about that as well. So HJR 79, let me let you know where it's at. I was hoping Casey Rich would be with us tonight because he was actually at the hearing yesterday. I don't want to give a secondhand account of what he told me, happened up in Jeff City. I would like for him to say it in his own words. But there was a public hearing yesterday, specifically for HJR 79. And lots of people went to go testify against this. Once again, guys, this is the ballot initiative. And what it does is starts to constrict basically the ability of the average citizen in Missouri to actually create a ballot initiative to get something good done in the state of Missouri. And there's lots of really good ways to handle the potential problems with having easy access to ballot initiatives. None of them explored by the Senate. None of them explored by the House. And that's part of the problem. And with us tonight, we actually have Ben from Show Me Integrity, who's been working on this day and night this year and also educating people on the pros and cons of ballot initiatives and actually sets up, I believe, meetings and seminars all over the state of Missouri. So welcome to you, Ben. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Patrick. It's an honor to be here.
great. I'll tell you what, I mean, it's pretty exciting, and hooking up with you and talking about this issue because, first of all, I didn't know about you guys until recently. So Sarah, let us know about your guys' group and what you guys are doing. But you guys have been working really hard. Things have changed because, and I talked to Sarah about this yesterday or the day before. Previously in the past, we had a lot of people, a lot of folks in Jefferson City that shut down these ballot initiative issues in the House and in the Senate. They never advanced to the next level. And we don't have folks like that anymore. And well, hang on, we don't have a lot of them anymore. So
Yeah.
we have to be more involved as citizens to actually shut this stuff down and make sure that we keep our right to the ballot and ballot initiatives. And that's exactly what you guys are doing pretty much. Is that pretty much correct?
Yeah, that's a huge part of what we do. One thing I love about the Missouri Freedom Initiative, and that's similar at Show Me Integrity, is it's not about party. It's not about the left-right
Hmm.
paradigm. I love that part of your mission and what your group's about. Similarly, we're an anti-corruption group as well. People span the political spectrum, but we believe there are a lot of really systemic problems in politics at local, state, and federal levels that we need to do something about, and that takes all of us working together to protect our freedom. And there's no way we're going to be able to fight at corruption and end some of that systemic corruption in our political system if we don't have the recourse of the ballot initiative itself. When we talk about constraining the government's ability to tax and spend, and what the Hancock Amendment was able to do, passing by 55% of Missourians, politicians aren't going to limit their own ability to tax and spend other people's money. So we really need to have that ballot initiative. For us, it's an anti-corruption issue. It's about protecting our ability in the future to pass anti-corruption initiatives. But obviously, it's a fundamental freedom issue. Um, generations of Missourians for 115 years have relied on the ballot initiative to hold politicians accountable. And Democrats tried this after the Hancock Amendment. Democrats tried to gut the ballot initiative process, and Governor Ashcroft stopped it at the time. He said it's through the initiative process that those who have no influence with elective representatives may take their cause directly to the people.
Hmm.
The General Assembly should be reluctant, therefore, again, this is Governor Ashcroft's words, should be reluctant to enact legislation which places any impediments on the initiative power which are inconsistent with the reservation found in the Constitution. I think we all know what Article 1, Section 1 of the Missouri Constitution says, and we need to remember that.
Yep, that's great. In fact, I was just reading about that because actually I wasn't following Missouri politics when John Ashcroft did this. And you're exactly right. He was looking out for the average Missourian. And so it doesn't matter which party wants to, limit access to ballot initiatives. It's a bad idea. But there are good ideas. We'll get into that in just a little bit. We have Casey Rich, who has just come in. And Casey, I know you're in just a tad late. Who we're talking to is Ben from Show Me Integrity. The guy from Missouri Rhino Watch apparently could not make it tonight. But I'll
Okay.
tell you what, I would love it if you could just let us know what happened yesterday in the hearing because you're an eyewitness.
Okay. First of all, sorry for being late, man.
Oh,
Technical
that's okay, man.
difficulties.
That's okay.
Couldn't get up, couldn't get it working. All right. Yeah. I'll kind of recap what happened yesterday. Everybody knows I've been trying to get a hold of Dean Plocher, the
Hmm.
floor leader for the House. Calls weren't doing it, so I said, "All right, I'm going to go down to Jeff City, see if I can't meet this guy personally." And of course, trying to get in the morning, there's like a line out the door. I mean, it was
Hmm.
impossible. Plus, he's on the floor all day. So finally, about the end of the day, I don't know, it might have been 5 or something like that. I just went up to the fourth floor and was watching the House floor proceedings. And one of the doormen came up to me and told me to take off my hat. And while I did that, I just say, "Hey, which one's Dean Plocher? Is that him down there?" And the floor guy said, "Yeah." And I guess that kind of worried the floor guy. So he went and called his chief of staff, just, as a security measure. So his chief of staff came over to me and asked me why I was wanting to know who he was and where he was at and everything. And I just, I told him how we've been working this legislation. We've been trying to get a hold of Plocher, get, phone calls to him, emails, and he wasn't answering nothing. basically just gave him a whole spiel. And the guy said, "You know what? Just wait right there, man. I can't promise you, but I'll try and get this guy over here." Because, I mean, he never left the floor that day. I mean, there's like lines of people in his office.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy come back and he said, "Hey, let's go over here." So we went downstairs, went over in this room, and he said, "Just hang right here. I'll see if I can get him." So he finally brings him over, and so I finally got a chance to talk to him. And basically, the guy told me, "Here, I'll just flat out say it." He said he's going to bury 2118.
Oh, I'll tell you what, we'll talk about that part in just a little bit. Can you talk about the hearing yesterday for the ballot initiative issue?
Yeah, sure. Oh, I thought you just wanted the other. Okay. Yeah, basically, I was there, and
how many?
Robert was there.
Yep, Robert was there too. Do you mind telling me approximately how many people you saw in the room? Just a ballpark figure.
Could probably answer that too. I mean, there probably had to be well over a dozen people that testified against. There's only one group that testified for those resolutions, and that was the Missouri Farm Bureau. Mm-hmm. Everybody else was testifying against it. I would say at least a dozen people. The room was full, and everybody's pretty much against it. And that was that. I mean, it really wasn't much to say about it. I mean, give you a quick little synopsis. Basically, both of those bills or resolutions, 79 and 91, they say in the ballot language, they just mention making it. Here, let's see if I can hear. I'll just read it at the end. But basically, it just says. Ballot language, it says define legal voters as United States citizens. Most people can read that and say, yeah, that's fine. Allow legislative public hearings on all constitutional amendments. Then we're going to say, okay, everybody gets to hear. It's transparency, right? And then it says requires a 2/3 vote for new amendments and a majority vote to amend constitutional provisions enacted before December 10th, 2022, and require initiative petition signatures from each congressional district. Okay. Oh, that's actually 91 I'm reading. But anyway, basically, they tell you some of those things. And like, I want to read the. Where'd it go?
And Casey, correct me if I'm wrong, but both of those proposals would raise the threshold to pass something to 2/3 of the popular vote, right?
Both of them. Yeah, the other one was even. It didn't even mention anything about congressional districts or something. Just transparency and stuff like that. But what it doesn't mention, that's going to raise the percentages from 8% is the percentage of signatures you have to have currently. They want to raise that to 10, and then they want to raise as of currently you can gather signatures in 2/3 of the states. And they're going to make it all states. I'm sorry, and 2/3 of the congressional districts, and they're going to make it all the congressional districts. In other words, they're raising the thresholds, and they're not putting that in the ballot language. So they're not being very transparent. Basically, that was the thing, and everybody in there was against it because they know the reason why they weren't mentioning raising those percentages in the congressional districts because they knew if they put that in the ballot language, nobody would vote for it. So basically, they're trying to shove legislation down our throat that's not going to be transparent at all. It's going to be very devious when it goes on the ballot to be voted on. Sorry, guys. Like I said, I had technical problems. I didn't get a chance to get my stuff together. So
no problem.
My apologies.
Okay. I'll tell you what, if you guys don't mind, I'd like to take this time right now because I did write up a statement, a testimony that was actually to be read by Casey at the hearing, and they refused. They did not give him the opportunity to read my testimony. So since the Senate did not allow for that, I thought I would read it to you guys tonight. It's a page and a half long, but it's about HJR 79. And I did not represent necessarily an organization. It was really more myself. But it reads as follows. To the members of this committee, my name is Pat Holland. I live in Clever, Missouri, and since I've not received a call back from my senator that I reached out to talk about the ballot initiative legislation, I appreciate the chance to have my statement read to this committee today because I could not change my Wednesday schedule on a 24-hour notice of this hearing in order to attend. I oppose HJR 79 and any other legislation that would impose further tightening restrictions on ballot initiatives for the people to address issues important to them in the state. I understand the reason behind these legislative initiatives, but I think better solutions are available. I have reached out to representatives about ideas on how to achieve the same goals stated by representatives who voted to pass HJR 79. In a 1-hour meeting with our organization, we had come up with alternative approaches to solve these issues, but no one in the General Assembly that we reached out to seems to want to hear them or talk about them. For this reason alone, I suggest all bills having to do with ballot initiatives be killed this year so we can revisit them next year after people of Missouri are aware of this potential problem and have say in the potential solutions. Please stop telling the people of Missouri you have the answer, because your proposed solutions do not sit well with liberty-minded Missourians. To those who are afraid of George Soros or Michael Bloomberg having undue influence in the state due to ballot initiative proposals, I say this. Are you not also afraid of the federal government influence of Missouri legislation through organizations such as the Sheriff's Association, the Missouri Police Chiefs Association, the Prosecutors Association, and others that receive funds from the federal government and lobby the Missouri General Assembly members for special interests? This is a giant elephant in the room, since no one wants to talk about this. These organizations and others are trying to do away with Missouri's new SEPA law, and they do receive federal funds and repackage them in the form of grants. This should be discussed as passionately and as completely as the threat from Bloomberg and Soros types. All current legislation this year to tighten ballot initiative requirements do not address these problems with federal influence. When I hear a senator or representative say that Missouri is lucky to have ballot initiative access for citizens, we should not complain, should not complain about making the requirements more difficult to obtain. I literally cringe. It sounds like a scripted talking point. It sounds like I should be happy with reduced freedom, a piece of liberty being taken away for a perceived threat. It sounds like someone is taking away my meal but leaving me some crumbs to eat. It feels like the federal government does when it nibbles away at my freedoms and expects me to be happy with increasing federal government power and restricting freedoms for my own safety. Benjamin Franklin had something to say about this. It was a warning about the increasing of government's power over the people. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty or safety. It did not escape my attention that the General Assembly has not tightened up the requirements for itself to get a ballot initiative on the ballot. This is hypocrisy. And it sure looks like you want to absorb some of the power from the people into the General Assembly. This is the public perception of the bills for tightening requirements for ballot initiatives. If your concerns were about the Medicaid expansion bill, I'll let you know that that was a concern of mine too. We all failed. All of us failed to educate the people about what the ballot initiative represented. The General Assembly failed. The media failed. The grassroots failed. We all failed. It was everybody's fault. But why punish the people of Missouri for making a bad choice when they didn't truly understand the choice they were making in the first place? If we take that position, it would be best for Missouri politicians to announce they need to make all decisions for all the people because the people are too dumb or too lazy to investigate or understand what they're voting for. We can learn from this past mistake by making an effort to educate and communicate information about all future ballot initiatives and make sure that the ballot initiatives are clearly worded with no ambiguous language so folks can understand what they're voting for. In closing, I'm almost done, gang. In closing, I'd like to say why most representatives and senators have received more phone calls, emails, and visits in their offices in the past several years. The reason is simple. Grassroots organizations are popping up all over the state of Missouri. It started with the Second Amendment Preservation Act and accelerated with COVID lockdowns and restrictions. The General Assembly is being watched more closely than ever before. People in Missouri want more freedom, not less freedom. We need to stop competing with states that have less freedom and compete with states that have more freedom. This is where good ideas begin. It's a good idea to include the people of Missouri in deciding the direction we go to, and not tell them what needs to be done to protect them from perceived threats to our Constitution, whether internal or external. Please place your trust in the people of Missouri to do the right thing, as they have placed their trust in you to do the right thing. Please remember who you work for, and please remember your oaths of office. May God bless you all. That's what was supposed to be read out loud yesterday, but they refused to let it be read. So
I wonder why.
yeah. And so at
They
any
knew
rate,
who it was.
yeah. So at any rate,
I thought Sarah was going to read it.
well, Sarah, if she had shown up, KC was my backup. So just in case Sarah couldn't go. And so actually, KC was emailed a copy as well. But you're correct.
Great.
Sarah was the original person that was supposed to read it. And so, yeah, that's where pretty much our organization stands on this. And by the way, guys, I am not kidding when I say, those of you watching on YouTube, we do have better solutions for these problems, but the politicians don't want to hear them, apparently. Now, I'll get to your email comments here in just a little bit. I really, really, really think that they got literally handed their butts in that hearing based on all the available information we have from Robert and from KC. The vast majority, and not vast majority, there's like maybe a dozen people that testified against the ballot initiative. One person came and testified for. That's 12-1 odds. So people are running for election right now. We'll have to see what they do with this information now. The people don't want the ballot initiatives. And for those politicians who watch this channel, we're not mad. We're not angry. We're not trying to give you guys a hard time. We're just asking you guys to listen to us. There are better solutions, and you guys please need to have, we've asked for audience, none's been granted. Ron Calzone has been asking for an audience, none's been granted. The people at Show Me Integrity have been asking for an audience to discuss these problems and better solutions. No one wants to hear it. There are better solutions to the problem than taking away rights from the people. And I think you guys know what they are. We've been sending them. Ron's been sending them, and I'm pretty sure that Ben at Show Me Integrity has been sending, possible solutions as well. So, okay, I'm going to back off just a little bit. If you guys want to discuss a little bit more about what happened, Robert, did you want to talk about what happened in the hearing yesterday with the ballot initiatives?
Yeah, not a problem. As Casey said, the room was pretty much full. There was even people actually standing, if I recall correctly. Everybody testified against it except one person who was there on behalf of Missouri Farm Bureau. One thing I find really disturbing about what is it, Bill 91, HJR 91, is that it actually funnels the petition to the General Assembly for their approval. And for them to committee it and look it over, and that's dangerous, right? So that bothers me a lot. And I also testified, and they only gave everybody that was there 2 minutes to speak, and then they ended up just doing it down to 1. So some people actually had statements prepared, and they didn't even get a chance to go over their full statement. And everybody was in much agreement there of how bad this legislation really was. So, and then if, excuse me, I may be mistaken, but I could double check just with a little bit of double checking, but there was 4 bills for that committee to go over, and nobody was there for the first 2 bills. Nobody was there to testify or witness for or against those 2 bills. Everybody was there for the last 2 bills.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken. Also, if I'm not mistaken, the committee voted on those first 2 bills that nobody was there to testify against, but they left out the last 2 bills everybody was there to testify against. I could be wrong. I don't know.
That'll happen today because they had a executive session scheduled after the House floor adjourned. So they're probably in the process. They probably already voted on them. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do a quick check while you guys keep going.
And that's just shady in itself. Like, you can't trust somebody that does that. Shady. So, my senator representative is on that committee. So he was looking right at me. I looked right at him. He has a really good track record, but this will be a stain if he if he supports it, I think. So hopefully he doesn't. We'll see.
Yep,
It's
that's.
insane.
Yeah,
Go
that's
ahead.
awful.
I'm sorry.
I was just agreeing. That's totally awful. I mean, what we're really worried about at Show Me Integrity and our Conservatives Against Corruption coalition is that, clearly they're not interested in hearing what we have to say, right? Like you said, at, you know, they don't want to hear solutions from the people. The whole idea of what they're doing is taking power away from the people and trying to concentrate it in the hands of a few politicians in Jefferson City. And that's why we're traveling around the state. We've got 40 presentations lined up to local pachyderm clubs, local chambers of commerce, local Rotary groups, talking to anyone who will listen, about what's happening and getting people to sign up and say we're against this as individuals and as a local organization, because we have to be ready for them to put this onto the ballot with, like Casey was saying, some extremely deceptive language. Oh yeah, only legal voters, only legal US citizens can vote. Of course, I'm going to vote yes on that. And we're going to have a very short amount of time from May 13th until the first week of August if they put it on the August ballot to educate and get the word out. So that's why we're trying to get as many people as we can to sign up. Our coalition website is conservativesagainstcorruption.org. Love to have more people join us. I saw, Patrick, you signed the petition. You sent the letter to your legislators using the tool on that website, and we would love for everyone to follow Pat's lead and do the same, because the more organized we can get, the more spokespersons we can recruit. We've got, Pat, I don't know if you saw, I emailed you earlier.
Yes.
We're looking for a spokesperson in Northeast Missouri to give a presentation to the Memphis Chamber of Commerce. We've got some other ones we need help. We need volunteers. So if everyone can sign up there and we can help deploy people to spread the word across the state, raise a fuss with your legislators, but also help us organize people all across Missouri to be ready to vote no if they put this on the ballot.
Yep. Okay, gotcha. Conservatives Against Corruption.org, is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, gotcha. I'm having a hard time bringing that up right now.
It is a bit of a long URL, so there might be a typo in there.
I got it. Yep. No. I fat fingered it. You're absolutely correct. I fat fingered it. Okay, guys, I'm putting the updated one here in the YouTube chat. And also, this website will be linked down below in the description section of this video before we're done tonight. So what basically Ben is saying is one thing they're looking for is volunteers, so that if you're if you look on their website in your local area, if they're holding meetings, you can actually help to present that meeting to educate people about the ballot initiative process and other issues. So let me get that into the live stream. Let me delete that first one.
That's right, because we have to spread the word outside the ranks of just the dedicated, liberty-loving faithful. We need to reach people all across the state who are not going to be happy that politicians are trying to take away a 115-year-old freedom that we, the people, have had to hold politicians accountable in Jeff City.
Yep, but I'll tell you what, if you listen to certain senators, they'll tell you, hey, be happy that you actually have this process to begin with, even if it's more difficult, because some states don't have it at all.
We are blessed in Missouri to have a strong initiative process, and we should protect that. We shouldn't be happy to give something up just because it's better than what other people have. Other people should try to have as much freedom as we have when it comes to this and other issues. And two common rebuttals you'll hear, right? The two of the things you've mentioned: Medicaid expansion and out-of-state money. I want to help arm the people here, if you haven't already done so, with some really important rebuttals to those. Like you said, Medicaid expansion, trying to take away a fundamental freedom because of one vote you didn't like. It's like having a bad day and then deciding suicide is the answer.
Yep.
Like, it just doesn't make sense. And the other thing with the out-of-state money if you make it this hard, I mean, talk to Ron Calzone, who tried to pass eminent domain abuse, reform, right? And they gathered 400,000 signatures, and they still fell short by a few signatures in one congressional district. It's already super difficult for grassroots activists to get this done. If you make it harder, you're making it so that only the big money interests have any chance of getting it done. So if you want big money out of state interests to have more power in Missouri, then raising the thresholds is a way to concentrate that power even further.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I want to throw in something about that Medicaid expansion. We're sitting here like, oh, hey, we're sorry the people voted for that. First of all, so what? I mean, if the people vote for something, that's what they're voting for. It isn't the job of the state government to decide what's right and what's wrong or what they think is better for us or any of that nonsense. I'd rather deal with the people, who voted with it and, whatever, what I'm saying, try to educate them or something, than sitting there and trying to apologize to a bunch of people in state government. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Everybody keeps saying, like, they're bringing that up, like,
Yeah.
oh, we're sorry we said that. So what? You don't apologize for. I mean, if that's what the people want, that's what they're going to get. And it ain't state government.
You don't apologize to political parasites.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. You put it in one sentence. But that's exactly what it is, man. And they brought that up in the committee hearing, or it might have been the other one that I was at before for the other two, SJR 31, 37. But they're sitting there saying, like, stuff like Medicaid expansion. It's just like, so what? Who are they to decide? They don't decide. We, the people, will make the laws, and they will, if we tell them what we want, and then they put it, and then they take care of it. They make what we want. We don't have to beg them or apologize to them. And I hate it when people talk like that. That's nonsense. They don't decide what we want. We decide what we want, and then they put it into action for us. That's what they're there for. Mm-hmm. And for them to say anything like that, well, look at some of these bills. So what? That's what they voted
Article
for.
1.
You need to get it out. And if anybody ever said something like that to me in one of them hearings, that's exactly how I'd lay it on them. I wouldn't say, well, the people. Nah, forget it.
I don't know.
So what? We're not there to convince them. We're there to tell them what we want, and they're supposed to do it.
Yep. Hey,
so comes to worst, get you nowhere.
Yep.
Worst comes to worst. It's Article 1, Section 3.
Yeah, I think that's right. What Ben was trying to say.
Yeah, maybe we should have threw that one at him, But no, I hate that attitude, man. It's like, they're not there to tell us what we want. We make laws, and we tell them what we want, whether it's through a ballot initiative or when we vote for them. They're supposed to put what we want on there. We don't beg and we don't apologize. And we don't pander to them.
Yeah.
I was going to agree with Casey on it. Just repeat Article 1, Section 1, right? Source of political power, origin, basis, and aim of government. That all political power is vested in and derived from the people. That all government of right originates from the people. Is founded upon their will only and is instituted solely for the good of the whole. So I agree with Casey 100%. Whatever the people decide, if the politicians don't like it, too bad.
I can live with what my fellow citizens want than what some political power tries to shove down my throat.
Ben, you are familiar with Article 1, Section 3, right?
You mean replacing the whole Constitution? Which can be done by a simple majority vote?
Just in general, the concept of Article 1, Section 3.
Yeah, if government doesn't do what we want, we get rid of it. Start another one.
Abolish the government. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I've never heard that explained.
Very based.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't normally think about that, but I tell you, the way things been going lately, it's starting to sound better and better.
Yeah. Okay, so
at least the federal.
By the way, some people already
that'd be enough now.
People already chiming in on YouTube that they've signed and sent their letters. Thank you very much, by the way. I've also done it, gang. And also now I'm on the email list here with the Show Me Integrity folks. So basically I can get a heads up on the stuff that they're looking at. Just like when people sign up with us on our website, they have a heads up of what we're looking at. These freedom organizations that are popping up all over Missouri, they've got to be making politicians in Jeff City nervous. They really do. Because Yeah, there's a lot more phone calls, emails, and visits to Jeff City than there's ever been before. And
It's only going to get to be more.
that's correct. And so to anyone in Jeff City who's watching this video, all I can say is, pretty much kind of just get used to it. You're going to have more phone calls, you're going to have more emails, you're going to have more input from your constituents. And I beg you, please listen to them. Please listen to them.
You're going to have more people on podcasts
they
who get
will
tired of the
listen
nonsense.
to them. Don't beg them. You
Well,
don't beg
beg 'em.
political parasites.
Trying to be nice, trying to be politically correct here. So I think it's incumbent upon the legislators in Jefferson City to actually start listening to their constituents from this point forward, because you're doing some things that are making the populace angry. And you guys know this by the phone calls and the emails. You guys have to know this. This is one of those instances, the ballot initiative. The vast majority of Missourians do not want this. They have made their voices very clear, but this is why I wrote what I wrote in here. You guys keep complaining about Medicaid expansion. You guys keep complaining about Soros and Bloomberg, but you guys aren't addressing the elephant in the room, and that's the federal government influence. It's the same thing. It's just not a private entity. It's a government entity. And they have very sneaky ways to get money, basically into Missouri to affect the General Assembly, you fine folk that work up there in Jeff City. So let's deal with all of this at the same time. And there's better ways of doing it. So let's get some ideas together. Let's actually sit down and figure this out. Rather than you tell us what's best for us, how about the people let you know what they want, which is what you're there to execute and to do is what the people want. And which was the basis of our conversation here for the last 5 minutes.
Well, it's the basis of what government should have been since its inception.
Sure.
Here in this country.
Sure. And
but, hey, you want a little update on HJR 79 and 91?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. First of all, I guess they had an executive session scheduled for today, Thursday, April 14th, upon adjournment. I don't know if they've adjourned yet or not, but it's possible they did, and they've already had the executive session. But I checked both bills, and so far there's nothing about them being voted out of committee. The latest thing is Wednesday, 4/13, public hearing held for both of them. So usually, let's say they held the executive session earlier today and they voted both out of committee. The House or the Senate clerk's office they're probably gonna know about within a couple hours and have it online, but I don't see it on there. So hopefully either they haven't had that meeting or they had a executive session for something else and didn't vote on them, but we'll have to wait and see. So as far as the status of those two bills, that's where we're at so far.
Okay.
I'll check again in the morning, and if something changes, then we let everyone know.
Now, Casey, thank you very much for that. I'm going to remind folks, this is one of 17 bills, 17 ballot initiative bills, all of them bad, with one exception. We'll get into that probably Sunday or next week. But there's only one good bill, basically having to do with ballots and ballot initiatives. And that's it. The rest of them, like I said, this is really strange how they've advanced these, especially when the people don't want them. You guys need to think about this.
They tried to do it quietly.
Yeah. And once again, I'll remind everyone, HGR 79, Plocher let that right through back in February. Boom. That was a top priority for him, apparently. He scheduled it on the floor. It went right through committee. He threw it on the floor. It got voted, to go to the Senate, and the Senate's been pushing it, hardcore right now as a House bill before they even finish their Senate business. This is a high priority bill for them, and it's not for the people. So just remember that when you make your phone calls. But by the way, I'm not saying be angry or be mean or, use four-letter words or anything like that. That doesn't get you anywhere. But please remember that they have a different set of priorities than the people of Missouri do sometimes, and this is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's pretty much all the business for the ballot initiatives before we get on to the other stuff. And so I just wanted to give you guys the heads up of what was going on. And once again, Robert and KC, thank you so much for first of all, for going yesterday. I couldn't go. So that's invaluable that you guys were able to make it. So thank you very much for that. Okay, and let's see. We've been joined by Donkey Punch and Juggalo Napier. So hello to you guys.
Good evening.
Hey there. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, that's ballot initiative stuff. So basically, if you want to call your senator again and tell them to vote no on any ballot initiative issues, kill the ballot initiatives, that's the easiest way to go. Because they simply, don't seem interested in listening to the people and the ideas that we have to deal with the issues. So remember now, just on ballot initiatives, if you call up the House, if you call up the Senate, just say no to all ballot initiatives if you have a problem with them. If you like them, please call them and say yes. Actually, if you like them, please don't call your senator or representative at all, because they're doing the job for you. Trust me.
If you're here, you don't like them.
Yeah, that's right. Far be it for me to tell people what to do, but if you're not happy with these ballot initiatives, a phone call to senator and representative, or an email to both, preferably email and phone call to both, and say no to all of them. We'll revisit it next year, especially since we have wasted too much time this year on redistricting. So at any rate, okay, I'd like to go forward at this point, and I'd like to start with HR 2118. Because actually KC Rich started a story earlier, and I'd like him to complete it. He had basically an unscheduled meeting with someone in the House of Representatives yesterday. So KC, I'd like to invite you to start in where you left off.
Okay, well, I'll kind of, for anybody that came in late on chat, man, I'll kind of go through the whole thing, kind of, sort of. Anyway, basically, I was there early in the morning because we had a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to get done. I was there but mostly for the hearings for HJR 79 and 91, the ballot initiatives. But while I was there, I figured, hey, we got a bunch of other stuff we can do too. And I just kind of scheduled a whole day. And one of the main things was trying to get a hold of Representative Plocher, because we all know he's the floor leader. He decides what bills go to the floor and when. And he's been kind of holding down 2118, and we got other ones, 1992, 2009, and he's been kind of holding those too, and some other ones. So I tried all day to get an audience with him. Thing was, he was on the floor most of the day because he's the floor leader, and in the mornings before they started their sessions, there's pretty much a line out the door of people wanting to talk to him. I have talked to a lot over the phone. I was able to go in there and talk to her, and she was telling me basically it's completely full, and chance of you getting an audience are slim to none, but just keep checking back and try, and that's what I did pretty much the whole day. It didn't happen. And so when I was doing the other stuff and working on some other stuff, when I get a chance, I just sneak in there and try. Of course, nothing. And again, towards the end of the afternoon, it's like 5 o'clock or something, I just went up on the fourth floor and watched the House proceedings down below. And when I was up there, the door guy came up and asked me to take my hat off. And when I did, I was asking him, I said, hey, which one's Plocher? Where's he at? And the guy pointed him out, and he said, why do you want to know about him? And I said, well, I kind of told him that, well, what we all know here. And basically I was here today to try and get an audience with the guy. So I just want to see who he was. So if at the end of the session, if he left, I can go down there and try and meet him. The guy's like, oh, okay. But I guess that kind of, I don't know, for security measures or something, that door guy told Plocher's chief of staff that somebody's up there looking for him. So they sent the chief of staff up there. He came over to me and asked what was going on, and why I was asking, who he was and all that. And, of course, I told him everything, how we've been working on, HB 2118, phone calls, emails, and everything. And I was there all day just trying to get an audience with this guy. I said, because we can't find out what's going on. He won't answer us through phones or email. So I was going to try and catch him in person. And the guy just said, we got to talking and everything. And he says, hey, follow me. So we went downstairs, went to a room. He said, just wait here. When that session's done, I'll try and bring him over. And sure enough, he did. So I got my chance to talk to Plocher. And to make a long story short, He wants to kill 2118. He says it's not going to see a light of day. That's basically what we told me. And we discussed other things about, the bill, what he didn't like about it or whatever. And pretty much anything he had to say, I had a counter for it. Because everything he was saying is from the prosecutor's side. And of course, you're supposed to be by constitutional right or a God-given right or whatever you want to call it. We're supposed to be innocent until presumed guilty beyond a shadow of doubt in a court of law. And of course, with this in Missouri, it's screwed up. Whereas, use deadly force to defend yourself, you're guilty until you prove your innocence. And this bill reverses that. And of course, him being an ex-prosecutor, and all the prosecutors associations, sheriff's associations, police chief associations, been been in his ear, wanting him to kill this bill. He pretty much sides with them. I mean, we argued over, there was like one thing he said, how many people do you think actually went to jail wrongly over this law? And I said, now how would I know how many people? I don't follow it like that. I mean, you probably don't even know that. And he goes, well, why don't you find me one? And I said, okay, what do you need for proof? And upon receipt of such proof, how will you respond? And he said, well, first, just go find that first, and then we'll take it from there. And I said, why? So you move the goalpost? Are you saying that no matter what I try to give you proof for, you're not going to do it? I mean, we went round and round like that through the whole thing, just to, sum it up. I can't remember everything verbatim, but basically, like one example he brought up, he said, let's say we're the only two in this room. I'm a Broncos fan, you're a Chiefs fan. I start talking smack to you, you start talking back. I pull a gun and I shoot you. Now, under this law, it'll be upon the state to try and prove it. How are they going to prove it if there's no witnesses in here or anything? I said, what about ballistics and all that other stuff? He said, well, maybe. And I said, well, okay, if you guys can't prove that with all the power of the state and your understanding of the law and everything, if that was reversed where I shot you in self-defense, but the burden of proof is on me, how the hell is me, who guy can't even afford a lawyer, supposed to prove my innocence? It's like everything he tried to say that made this bill bad, all I had to do is flip it back the other way. Because, I mean, when it comes down ultimately is who's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty or guilty until proven innocent. And we know constitutionally you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. So anything he tried to say, it was just easy to flip it back. But basically, at the end of the day, I asked him, I said, are there a lot of prosecutors, sheriff's associations? And he said yes. And he's siding with them. He said he's going to kill that bill and ain't going to see a light of day. That's what the dude told him.
Okay. While you've been talking here for the last couple of minutes, go ahead.
Tyrant.
Yep. Hey, but you know what? At least that tyrant, wasn't trying to hide it.
No.
Yeah, well, the most egotistical tyrants don't try to hide it. They're blatantly in your face about it.
Well, at least he didn't play around. We know where this guy stands now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So instead of hoping he's going to do it, we know he's going to try and stop it. So next, I guess, strategy is, how are we going to combat this?
Okay.
It would really stink if the next time you talk to him, somehow an audio recording of the conversation got leaked on the internet.
It'd be a shame.
Yeah.
It would be a total shame.
Yep.
I don't need this conversation. The guy had it open with me. It was public. There were people there. I was telling him, I said, we talk. People are going to want to know what I have to say, or what you said. You didn't have a problem with it. So there you go.
I wonder how many other representatives that would have supported that around heard that.
There wasn't no other representatives. Like I said, we were in a room. Like I said, his chief of staff was there, and I guess some other. I don't even know who those people were, but just a few others.
Hey guys,
there's other people wanting to talk to him too. So
while Casey was talking for the last 2 minutes, I had up on the screen basically Dean Plocher's his financial backers, his campaign contributors. And I have linked that down in the YouTube section, in the YouTube chat. I will make that available in the description section of this video as well. If you look through it closely enough, you'll find that the vast majority of his campaign contributors are medical. And, of course, he's against HB 2009. We'll get into that in a little while here. Police, fire, lawyers, and banks. So he likes, apparently he really does like to take campaign contributions from other government entities or those who represent government entities. So he's not really a grassroots kind of guy, is what it looks like
Let's
to
see
me.
here. What? Okay, so here's a question. He's in office. I
Mhm.
wonder if any of those would count as paid lobbyists.
I don't know. I mean, that's something that we could look into, I suppose.
The reason I ask is because let's see here. Let me go back a little bit here. Um, just a second here. I was just reading something in the Missouri Constitution. Let's see here.
Well, while you're looking for that, you
Yeah, there it
guys.
is.
Okay, go ahead.
Article. I think that's Article 2. No, Article 3, Section 2. Prohibited activities by General Assembly members and employees.
Yep.
Campaign contribution. I can't even talk straight. Contributions and restrictions, and in short, it basically says that they can't take payment from paid lobbyists.
Okay.
It's a violation.
Well, yeah, this is too obvious. I'm not sure it qualifies, but it definitely lets us know that his special interest is special interest. Big corporations, medical. He's getting a lot from medical. We saw this with Parson too, by the way, gang. We brought up the campaign contributions from Parson when we were trying to get the special session done back in September of last year. Because
Funds from medical would be paid lobbyists.
Yep. So, but from Fraternal of Police Chief Association 111 or whatever. So basically, government unions are donating heavily to him, bankers, lawyers. And apparently, that's another thing. KC, can you tell us who he listens to the most? I think that was very interesting.
Yeah, prosecutors, sheriff's associations, police chiefs associations.
Okay,
And obviously ain't us.
Okay, so what Casey just said is what he told Casey directly. That was not speculation.
He sides with them.
He sides with Sheriff's Association, Police Chiefs Association, Prosecutors Association, which all lobby the federal government for funds. So he's, and by the way, this is the speculation now. That's fact. Okay,
and
you guys.
He's also an ex-prosecutor.
Yep. So you can take those facts to the bank. Now I'm going to speculate.
That's what he told me.
Yep. Dean Plocher was definitely, for 8 years, we tried to get SEPA done. Dean Plocher was a massive roadblock for many of those years to get SEPA done. I want you guys to remember that. So Dean, but at the same time, I'm telling you all this stuff just so you know who we're calling. But I don't want you guys to be aggressive or anything else like that, or, actually, it's just time to call him and be counted. That's what we want. But this is who we're dealing with. Oathbreaker is what Voodoo Queen says. I'll tell you what, I'm looking into that, whether or not he's breaking.
Statement.
Yeah, breaking an actual oath that he took to be in office. But certainly, by holding back legislation, he's not doing his job. And he's doing an awful lot of holding back legislation, the things people want. Now, KC has more to say. And once again, KC, that was brilliant of you to be able to go yesterday. But I want you to tell me what Dean Plocher's secretary said about the top 3 biggest bills that they've received calls on.
Which you hadn't mentioned your name, but anyways, yeah, the top bills, that they were getting in was 2009, which was Susie Pollock's bill, and that was getting the most calls, and right behind it was Taylor's Self-Defense Act, and I guess maybe to repeal sales tax on food was like a distant third, but then Lasco's civil asset forfeiture wasn't getting much calls on that, but it was mostly Susie Pollock's bill and 2009 and 2118. They were just getting insane amount of calls.
Okay.
Those are basically the 2 hottest bills as far as people calling up and asking for. Those are the 2 hottest bills in the House right now. They're burning the competition, and they're going to sit on them.
So
he's not even going to put them to Well, I don't know about Pollock's bill because I was talking about 2118 in particular when we had a conversation. We didn't have much time, so I couldn't discuss 5 bills. I had to go with the one that I've been putting my blood, sweat, and tears into to try and move through the process to get it, passed. And yeah, he's sitting there. He said that bill won't see the light of day.
Yep. His direct
Even though it's
words.
one of the most popular. Yeah. Not even, I said, what? Just put it on the floor and let it have its chance like every other one. Nope. Nope. Nada.
Yep. So you're not inferring this. These are his direct words to you.
It's say if he wants to deny it, I didn't record it, but man to man, we were there, we talked about it, we discussed it. I don't put words into people's mouths. I don't do gotchas. I don't sit there and do gossip or lies or anything. I asked him. I try to get clarification as much as I can. Like I said, man, what he said, I want to be able to repeat it back as best as possible. Like I said, I don't do gotchas. I ain't there to, expose or anything like that. We had a talk, and hey, it was public, and he knew that whatever he told me, people are going to be asking me what he said. So I'm telling you what the man said. And if he tries to deny it, I don't think he would. See how there's other people there.
Okay. Thank you for that, by the way. So to recap, the number one bill that's being called on this year is Susie Pollack's HB 2009. And that's basically to allow for conscientious objection to vaccination in the public school system, so that parents can decide what vaccines their kids get, and not health departments, not governments, not school districts. That's the number one bill that's being called, that the populists are calling on, and they're calling for the bill. They're not calling against it. They're calling for the bill. Number two, 2118. Basically, let's, for lack of a better term, let's just say it's the Stand Your Ground Enhancement Act. That's the number 2 bill, once again being held by Plocher. Number 3 is our 1992, once again getting rid of sales tax with grocery store food. And so, at any rate, these are 3 of the bills that we as an organization picked to put our weight behind this year. And then one that's not getting much love right now, we need to get back on, is the civil asset forfeiture, because there are solutions to fix that bill once it gets to the floor. We need floor time with that bill. So we need to call on 1613 as well, email on 1613 as well. So, but at any rate, the information that KC got was just amazing. But it didn't take very long. It took, that happened in Discord here. We got in here half an hour before we started. It took me just a few minutes to bring up Plocher's campaign contributors and financial backers. And so things are starting to make a lot more sense when I look at his campaign contributors. You guys take a look. Once again, linked in YouTube. I'll put it down in the description section of this video as well. But we need
you got all these people up there in office wanting to take away our power to ballot. Yet really what they need to be taking the power away from is these prosecutors and police chiefs and sheriffs and stuff. They got no business. They're supposed to be law enforcement, not lawmakers. And that's what I told him. And he said, well, I don't know. Maybe they should be involved in that too.
Should have brought up Article 1, Section 3. Power over police.
Well,
yeah, but
he had so little time with him, Caleb.
Said,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I just had a few minutes, man. And I was lucky to get that. So, we could have discussed. It all comes down to this. Anything he threw at me, I was able to flip it back on him, because he's talking about, the problems the prosecution has or something. They don't have the ability to do this, that, or that to try and, get a defendant. But the thing is, if they can't do it with all the powers they currently have, then how is a defendant supposed to prove their innocence, the opposite way, when most of them can't even afford a lawyer and all they're going to get is a public pretender? So, you know what I'm saying? Anything he tried to say, that, oh, we can't do this or that or whatever as prosecutors, well, then your defendant ain't going to be able to prove his innocence, because he's even going to have less resources than you. And forget all that, really, because what it comes down to is you're innocent until proven guilty beyond a shadow of doubt in a court of law. And in fact, that Missouri has this opposite, if you use lethal force to defend yourself, is insane. It shouldn't be there. This bill should be passed to correct it. So really, the guy doesn't have a leg to stand on. He just basically, he wants to keep power in the hands of the prosecution. That's it.
Yeah, that's his only reason.
Yeah, he can't. No matter what he argues, all you gotta do is flip it back the other way, and that's basically what I did. Like I said, when he said, okay, show me somebody that went to prison wrongly over that, and I said, now how about I don't follow that? I mean, how am I supposed to do it? He said, just find me one. I said, okay, what do you need for proof? And upon receipt of such proof, how will you respond? And he just said, well, go find it first, and we'll take it from there. I said, why? Why can't you just tell me what you got? I mean, if you want me to do this, tell me what you're going to do if I get your proof. Tell me what you want for proof, and if I get it for you, what are you going to do? And he just says, well, get it first, and we'll take it from there. And I said, why? So you move the goalpost? I mean, you know what I'm saying? The guy just wanted to run me around in circle. He basically wanted to throw a stick and make me go fetch it. It's nonsense. I'm going to do that. The guy has no leg to stand on to stop this bill, to be in disfavor of this bill, period.
He's a tyrant that's been in there way too long.
Yes.
There's another way to look at it.
The guy said he's going to make sure it doesn't see the light of day. So, man, that's what he told me. I guess you know what it's going to be? It's going to be him and me in that room. Who's going to – I mean, if he wants to say it, there's a lot, But I'm just telling you what the guy said, man. And he knew I was going to say it. So, didn't see a problem.
See, there's something with the looking at his campaign donators is private entities like banks. You find out what bank donated to his campaign. You have an account at that bank. You can contact that bank and say, hey, you're supporting this tyrant. And if you continue to support him, I'm pulling out my bank account and going and taking my business somewhere else. You can do that with any private business. And if enough people do it, it will affect that they'll pull their funding for him because they don't want to lose the business.
It's an idea.
It's just another angle to look at it,
To an extent, though, but it's also a bankers organization, a bankers association that's doing it.
Oh, it's a bank. Okay, I thought it was like an individual. I mean, if it's an individual bank or
sure, there's a couple individual banks
anything like
that
that
doing it, but they're going through the bankers organization. Then you
Gotcha.
really can't tell. God, that's just pathetic. Missouri Bankers Association, to hell with that.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is, gang. I mean, this is not the first time we've seen this before with our Missouri politicians. But you see, once again, when we find issues, we expose them. That's what we do. And Plocher has a lot of compromising positions with bills that are currently being held by him seem to be related somehow to his campaign contributors. That seems very interesting to me.
I just had this will make people laugh. I remember seeing, I don't remember if it was a meme or something or a little tiny piece of an article that I read or something, but apparently back in, I think it was the early to mid 1700s, in England, when the bankers started screwing with the currency, what was it? The Parliament basically had suggested that they tie them up in burlap bags and throw them in the river.
The legal way to do that is to, when he's up for re-election, is to support the candidate going against him and leak all this information of who's funding him, representing, because he's obviously not representing the people.
This is his last term, though, I think.
Oh, you guys have term limits?
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's a great.
No, actually, I think he's going to be Speaker of the House next year because Escobar is on his last.
Yep, that's what it looks like, gang.
Yeah.
And
I think once he runs out of this term, I think he's done.
Yeah, I think so too. Guys, I want to read something because Ron Calzone at Missouri First had something to say about HB 2009. And it's right on his website, mofirst.org. In fact, it's right on the front page there. Let me read it to you real quick. Missouri Republicans are kowtowing to the healthcare industrial complex. This is from March 31st, so it's a couple of weeks old. HB 2009 is a lasting pushback to COVID tyranny, but leftist healthcare organizations are convincing Republicans to oppose it. It says, Missouri House Republicans are allowing ultra-leftist healthcare industrial complex to drive their agenda, including with respect to bills dealing with COVID tyranny we've been facing for the last 2 years. Leftist members of the healthcare industrial complex, like the American Academy of Pediatrics, we'll come back to that in a second, have blocked or weakened bills designed to prevent the tyrannical healthcare orders we've seen from 2020 to 2022. For instance, HB 2009 will put a stop to the Missouri Department of Health from mandating new childhood vaccines by rule and force them to respect a parent's religious objection, also conscientious objection. I'm going to use that word directly from the language on the bill. It would also reinstate the legislative oversight over vaccine mandates that have until 1992, but AAP has convinced a number of Republican House members to thwart it. Now, here's the reason why. We must ask the Republicans, we must ask why Republicans are helping with this socialist agenda. Here are examples on the American Academy of Pediatrics policy from their own documents. They are, number one, against religious, and once again, we're talking about just one organization, the American Academy of Pediatrics. They're against religious exemptions to mandated vaccines, number one. Number two, in favor of COVID vaccine for kids 5 years old and up. Number three, in favor of adolescents' right to access reproductive care, including abortions without parents' involvement. Number four, they're anti-gun, including assault weapons bans, restrictions from handgun ownership, and magazine capacity limits. And then also, number five, in support of the transgender agenda, including boys and girls' locker rooms in competing in girls' sports. Guys, this is them. This is they. So at any rate, I wanted you guys to just be aware of this. The American Academy of Pediatrics is one of the organizations that's donating heavily to Missouri politicians. And why aren't we getting a special session? Why aren't we getting rid of vaccine mandates in the state? Beer flu serum mandates. Gosh darn it. I said a lot of words.
Sounds well. I mean, you were reading directly from somebody else's article, correct? YouTube?
Yes, I sure was. So at any rate, it's Ron Calzone's website. It's linked down below. He's a partner of ours. So Ron's always listed in our description section. But please do take a look at this and remember this as you support HB 2009 when you're emailing or calling. That basically we need to, I guess, look into your representative, look into your senator, and see if they are receiving money from the American Academy of Pediatrics, because that could explain why, basically they're not voting on 2009. The number one bill, gang, number one bill this year, just like last year, number one bill, SEPA, hands down. This year, number one bill, HB 2009, hands down. And it sits there on Plocher's desk. He keeps bouncing it from the informal to the formal calendar and back again and back again and back again. And that's what he's doing with it.
Well, all these healthcare lobby groups like this, those are technically paid lobbyists.
Yep.
Giving money to active politicians.
Yep. You guys keep it going. I'll be right back. Feel free to discuss.
Direct violation of Article 3, Section 2.
Yeah. I just wanted to know if you went at him with that, how many more people would you have to go after?
Probably all of them.
Do we have enough tar?
Feathers?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think there's a shortage of feathers because they're claiming that whatever it is, bird flu going around again, and they're killing chickens like crazy. So, I'm guessing there's plenty of feathers to spare.
It's okay. We'll just switch it up to super glue.
Epoxy.
There you go. See, that's thinking outside the box.
Oh, man.
I've always wondered why
Bedliner.
the GOP takes their money during filing season. You're allowed to deny a filing fee. And so if we have in the GOP and the Missouri Republican Party these people out there violating the Republican platform, why are they continually allowed on the ballot, sometimes for decades? And that's a serious question that, the Missouri Republican Party really needs to get it together, because he's not even being primary this year. So he's going against a Democrat in District 89, and if he wins, we got 2 more years of stuff like this at least.
Blocker.
Yeah, Plocher. Plocher
Oh,
has
God.
no primary person, and the GOP took his money. So, you know, if his record, which I'll be honest, I do not know what his record is past, up till recent with his actions, but he's been in since 2016, if I'm correct. Does
Only
he have a history?
2016?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
okay. So he's only got 6 years out of his 8. Damn.
yeah. So that's why he's running again unopposed in the primaries. The Republican Party took his money. They have the right to deny it. So I know this because I've seen the Libertarian Party deny taking people's filing fees. So, they can have the right to disassociate if they want, and it's disturbing that they don't.
The
Just a little
Republican
bit.
Party is not actually conservative or libertarian. They don't really care. People are
They
going to
just-
keep voting. There are no Democrats here in Missouri. People are just going to keep pulling the R chain just because they don't care. People don't do the work, and the Republicans know it, so they don't really care who they run. They know that people will pull the R chain.
Yep. And then of course those what is it? I can't think of the name of it. The Republican caucus, whatever you want to call it, always pushes. I mean, the good old Republican meetings around here, all I ever see out of them, because they always show clips and all that, and it's usually just some politician, the current or upcoming politician that they want to stick up there and have them bitch for a couple hours.
Yep. Hey, I don't want to change the subject, but I did want to poll everyone on YouTube right now and those in the Discord. Easter is on Sunday. We'd normally have our live streams on Sunday night. Would you guys be okay if we switched it to Monday night? Or would you want to keep it on Sunday night? So just a little poll for you guys. When do you want the next live stream? We won't have any new information for you, but we'll shift our focus of the discussion. Because basically what we're asking everyone to do, and we'll go back to that here at the end of the broadcast here in just a little bit, is contact Dean Plocher's office, email and voicemail. Now, you can, once again, they're closed. They closed early today. They're closed tomorrow. They won't be open Monday either. They resume on, I think
Tuesday.
it's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Thank you, Casey. So, but we have work to do, gang. I mean, this is not a deal where we can take a break. We're virtually at the end of the legislative session. Very little is getting accomplished. A big part of that is Plocher the blocker. And so we need to actually we need to fill up his voicemail box. We need to give him a heck of a lot of emails and let him know what the people of Missouri want. We want these bills. We want them to go through. So what do you guys think? You guys in the Discord, before people in YouTube, let us know. What do you guys think, Sunday night or Monday night for the next live stream?
I think
Monday.
Monday night would probably be the most efficient, because you could throw out a bunch of emails that everybody will get to wake up to and
Okay.
everything while we're live streaming.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, Monday. So we have a vote for Monday. And once
Monday.
okay, Monday for Donkey as well. Okay. Yeah, Sunday should be kind
I
of a
can do
family day.
Monday. Yeah, I can do Monday.
Okay. I don't want to take away a live stream because we're hot and heavy into this right now, gang. And guys, believe it or not, I don't get discouraged by what we've said tonight. We are having an impact. I guarantee it. Actually, there's evidence of it. There's proof of it.
Look, we definitely having an impact. This guy basically had to come out and say, "Hey, I'm burying these bills." We got that out of him instead of just wondering why nothing's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Your calls and everything forced this guy to hide, and then we had to go get him, and now he's come out and said it. Otherwise, if we had been pushing like we were, we'd just be going, "Gee, what's going on here? Why ain't this stuff happening?
Okay.
What's the hold up?"
Yep. It seems like the general consensus is Monday. Okay, gang. Then we'll do Monday night. Monday night we'll do our next live stream, and so we'll get everyone revved up for what's coming up. The following week. But I would ask you this: the bills. Go ahead.
Warrior Class 3 in the chat. It would be worth it to vote for the Democrat just to get rid of Plocher.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. I hate to say that too, but honest to God, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Plocker's corrupt. We may get a honest Democrat.
Lesser of two
Isn't he already
Honest
a
about-
Democrat?
Yeah, at least the Democrats are openly, publicly honest about their corruption.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the biggest worry with Plocher is he would be set to move even further for leadership.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Eh.
Yep. And Latanya says we should all go live, fill up his VM. Yep, we should. Well, we could fill up his voicemail literally now. And yep, I've called Plocker's. Holy mackerel! How many times have I called Plocker's office? In fact, I talked to Igor. I talked to him today, by the way. Igor. So that was my first experience, actually, someone picking up the phone over there. But I do believe I have a grand total of 7 calls now to Plocher. And honest to God, I don't know how many emails. I'd have to go into my email and check, but it's at least 2 emails. So, yep, let's all email. Let's all call as well. So let's do both. And by the way, I've had it on really good authority that Plocher, basically does know, he's getting pressured and he will succumb to it eventually. But we need him to move quickly on some of these bills. And I will once again fill out the description section of this video for all the bills that we care about. Once again, let's just keep it going, gang. And 2118, for him to just literally openly say that bill doesn't leave my desk. It'll never hit the floor. Talk about corruption. I mean, who is he to make that decision? He's making that decision for everyone in the state of Missouri.
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would like to point out there is something that we might be able to hold his feet over the fire about, as you would say, not literally, but
I wish we
you
could
can
do it
recall
literally.
a representative. Well, I don't want to, say anything along those lines. But this is a figurative thing. I'd like to try a legal route of you just recall the representative by getting 12% of the vote in 5 counties of their district. And if I'm not mistaken, and I'm correct, we'll just recall him. Let's just start a drive and see if we can get enough pressure in his area to put pressure on him, and just let him know, hey, we built an army over here that agree, and we just want you to know that we would like that you would do something for us and actually represent our voice, or else we just file petition and recall.
I think that's only a U.S. rep because I don't even know that he has 5 counties in his district.
Well, yeah, because he's 89. Let's see. This says
He's got 3, I think.
This says
Well,
elected state officers.
So that sounds like the governor, because that's who's normally listed as officers of the state. The
Okay,
governor and his group.
See, Plocher, if you
Gotcha.
ever end up watching this video, look how crazy you're making us. We're talking about recalling you. We're actually starting to talk about what procedures we have to go through to recall you. So just release the bills and we can stop this nonsense and we can all get on with our lives, Plocher.
Don't
I'm
make
sorry,
us get nasty.
Representative Plocher.
Don't make us get nasty.
Yeah. Yeah. And Voodoo says she's had 5 emails into Plocher. God bless you, Voodoo.
Yeah, actually, Plocher told me he wasn't getting very many emails, and I know that's nonsense.
Yeah, that can't be true.
No, it definitely can't. Unless he's got a different email from what it says on the house. You know what I'm saying?
Now, the one that's publicly available actually is
Yeah.
available to all of the people of his staff too. so they can go through
So
those
when he's
emails.
saying he wasn't getting that many emails, it's like
They may be filtering his emails
Yeah.
for him.
I don't know.
Yeah, they may be just going through and deleting them, any of them that are in support of any of the bills that he just doesn't want to put out.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. All I know is we know damn well he's been getting emails, phone calls, and everything else. I mean, even not him directly, his office.
Okay.
We know that. And so
Yeah, we might want to research that because, later on, it doesn't talk like it's just talking about the governor because, it's got stipulations like if recall of governor or secretary of state is initiated, the recall duties of that officer shall be performed by the lieutenant governor or controller, respectively. A state officer who is not recalled shall be reimbursed by the state for the officer's recall election expenses legally and personally incurred. Another recall may not be initiated against the officer until 6 months after the election. The legislator shall provide for recall of local officers. So, I don't know. I'll have to read the whole thing in
There-
full, maybe. And
There's an initiative. There was an initiative petition about it, but I don't know that it passed.
Hang on just a second.
yeah, okay, I see that. Yes. Let's see if it did pass. I bet you it didn't.
The holder of any, yeah. So here is state statute. The only recall statute we have is cities, towns, and villages. Recall of elected official procedures, and so it's local recalls.
Got you. So then now we found our next step. That's something we need to push for. We need to be able to recall our state representatives.
Yep. Well, and that's part of the ballot initiative process, which they're trying to make more difficult for us.
exactly.
So that's
There you
one
go.
aspect, and that's one thing I failed to talk with our friends at Show Me Integrity about, is all the things that you can do with a ballot initiative to improve your state. Now, what the guys in Jeff City wants you to know is all the things that can be done to make things more difficult, or make the Constitution larger, or things that the bad people on the left can do with external money. What they're not telling you about is all the good things that you can get done with the ballot initiative process. That's why there are better ways of handling this than the solutions they keep shoving in our face. We're smarter than
They're
that.
not telling you the fact they want to take away your power as a citizen.
Yeah.
Somebody
That's
at
exactly what they're doing.
at that hearing pointed out the biggest thing that keeps on getting pointed out that's in the Constitution with bingo was actually put in there by the legislature.
Interesting. That's very interesting. I'm going to have to look into that because my senator, I need to have a conversation with him about that. Okay. All right, gang. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys keep it going. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start getting all the relative links down in the description section of this video for every bill. Let's see, HJR. Should we have people even call on HJR 79 anymore on the Senate, or should we keep it on the House side for this video?
No, definitely call on HJR 70 until we find out whether it's been voted out of committee or not.
Okay. But yeah,
That
you
one
call.
and 91.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. But you got to call your senators on this one, gang.
Yeah.
HJR 79 is out of the House now, and it's still in committee in the Senate. We think they had a special session over it, but we just don't know the status at this time.
Yeah, right now, nothing's said about it being voted out of committee, but that's the Local Government and Elections Committee. Sandy Crawford is the chairwoman. Those are the people. Maybe you can post. I don't have the ability to post it, so.
Okay. Yep,
Or
I'm
maybe
working on it.
maybe I can put the link up there. But I've been having technical problems. Half my stuff's down.
Okay, that's all right. I'll
that-
get all the relevant stuff up.
Is that computer I gave you still down?
Yep. I think it's a power supply or something. Because actually, you know what? That day, Patrick, he's trying to help me figure it out.
Mhm.
I went in my bedroom and I have an electric alarm clock and it was blinking. So we actually did have a power outage probably when I was gone or something. That might have been what jacked it up.
Okay, HJR 79, and what was the other one? HJR what?
91.
91, thank you. Okay. You guys keep the conversation going here. I'm typing and linking and all that fun stuff.
Definitely need to call your senators, because when I was in the room, I made sure to make eye contact with every single one of them. And I told them we don't need a parenting government. I pointed out several instances where the government's literally failed and debacled everything they touched, whether it was wars, the getting off the gold standard, Medicaid, the cannabis, hemp. When the government gets bigger, it's horrible. And the fact that they
Yeah.
try to funnel us to them is dangerous.
So the local government from the Senate, the last one they had was today, the 14th, but it was hearing 1606 and 1878. Held in the Senate lounge. Everyone was present. It doesn't show whether or not those two passed out of exec session.
Yep. So, and usually they put those up pretty quick. So hopefully, maybe they didn't have a chance to have a session because it was scheduled, and it was scheduled for, I guess, after
no, they had a session. They did.
Oh, they did.
But
Okay.
it wasn't for those two bills.
All right. Good.
They heard 1606 and 1878.
In the executive.
That's what they exec on. Yeah.
Where'd you find that? All I could get was
Senate.mo.gov, and went to committees and found her understanding committee, found her committee, and then the hearing cover page, executive bills heard, executive session, HCS, HB 1606, McGaw, HB 1878, Simmons.
Okay, so they haven't even had a vote on those yet. That's interesting, really. That's extremely interesting.
So I think they exec on those two, but it's not showing how they voted on it. At least not from what I'm seeing.
I'm trying to.
Okay, guys, I'm listing
find what
these.
you've been finding. Okay, hey, Casey, talk me through that again. You went to senate.mo.gov.
Yep. And then what you're going to do is you're going to look for committees.
Okay. I found that.
All right. Click on that.
Okay.
Then you're going to go standing committees.
Yep.
Then you're going to scroll down a minute to find local government.
Okay, got that.
And then you're going to search committee minutes.
Wait a minute. Okay, I don't see committee. I see committees. Let me click on that.
So,
wait. I see it now. Hang on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right above the pictures. Committee minutes. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
And then that'll show you the minutes of every committee that they've held.
Okay. You know what? I am going to put that in the chat.
Yep. And then you can
And
also
click on the link
and you should be able to find from there also all the witness forms. Underneath bill witnesses. HJR, for instance, I'm looking at HR 79. It shows witnesses for the Farm Bureau lady, and then it shows everyone who showed up against.
I'll have to have my computer set up in here a little better before I can mess with that.
Okay, gang, if you guys do a refresh on the screen for this video, in the description section are all the relevant bills, including the marijuana bill. Everything's there. I'm going to ask those of you who watch this video to please actually take action if you can between now and Monday, and we'll gather it again on Monday. Now, I'm going to go ahead and make the emails and make the phone calls. I'm going to do it. And I know that takes a lot of time for the special way that I do it. You guys know what I do. But I've got to do it. And I'm asking all of you, at the very least, to contact your senator, your representative, along with Plocher. We have to get to Plocher. So I'll go ahead and hit that again. Actually, I didn't put Plocher's information in here. So I will get Plocher's information direct in here. Please call his office along with your senator and your rep. That's what I'm asking.
Hey, Casey, if you scroll down all the way on that page that you just went to, it'll also show you bill votes.
Okay.
So
Okay, good.
you can see the votes for 1606 and 1878 today.
Okay. Great. Oh, and also looks like we had one witness that was for 79 and 91 because actually everybody testified against both. They put both together at the same time, and there was 20 people came and testified against. So I'm wondering if that's why they held off on voting on those.
That could have a good deal to do with it because they're not going to want it to have it. So they're probably not going to want to have such a crowd gathered together.
Yeah, I think they realize everybody's watching this now. They probably thought they could get away with those other two. You know.
You know, if the Democrats filibuster on this in the Senate, I'm actually going to root for them.
I know
Feels weird. Feels weird.
I know what they should be doing. I mean, if I was a Democrat, I know what I'd be doing, especially if I was, on one of those committees. I would offer an amendment that showed on the ballot languages the increases in the number of percentages of votes they want, the percentage of districts. Make that first on the ballot language, and I would offer that up and see. And if they turn it down, then hey, if these things pass the Senate and actually go up for a vote in August or November, now you got something that says, hey, this was offered as an alternative, and they voted it down. They didn't want it. They didn't want you to see on the ballot language, what they were changing. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would do.
Yep.
If it were
Yeah.
me. But I'm just talking
about
about me.
It needs to be someone other than just the Democrats that present that information, because you have so many people locked into that paradigm, they'll completely ignore anything with a D next to it.
But what I'm saying is you would have on public record when we go, and like I said, if these things pass through the Senate and they end up actually going on the ballot, we would then have a public record of saying, hey, this is offered, and the Republicans in that committee turned it down. And they should do that on the floor, too. If these bills do actually get voted out of committee and they go to the floor, they should offer those amendments, too. And like you said, along with filibustering or whatever, and force them to say either yes or no. And they're going to say no because they don't want to put yes on there because then they know nobody will vote for them. I mean, that's why they got the ballot language the way it is. They're trying to hide those increases. They don't want people to know about that.
Well,
That's
there's
what I'm
one.
saying. It's insidious.
Yeah, there's one thing I'd like to add tonight, guys. Everything's linked down below in the description section. I got it done. So every bill that we care about, that we're currently caring about, because there's just too many bills right now, and we have to, keep our focus. 5 bills is a lot. That's a lot to keep track of. But I want to make a special appeal for one bill we haven't talked about in, about 3 weeks, and that's 1613. I want to talk about the civil asset forfeiture bill. Now, the last time we talked about it, it got eviscerated. It got cut up. It did not survive the committee passage very well. It got basically defanged. And this is a very, very important bill. Without us going into, because we're already an hour and 30 minutes into our live stream, I don't want to lengthen it a whole lot, but this is a very, very important bill. Just as important as SEPA for literally getting federal influence out of the state of Missouri. So please don't forget to call and email on 1613. Yes, you want it on the floor. Guys, I've talked to the bill sponsor, and so don't worry. Just get it out in its current form, and it'll get fixed on the floor debate. So that's, pretty much, and I talked to him today. So, and that's Tony Lavasco. So
great guy.
Yep. And so, at any rate, I would like to make a special appeal. Now, we care about 2118, we care about 2009 and 1992, but don't forget 1613 in your calls and emails, is what I'm asking. Very, very important bill. And it's for getting the Fed out of the state of Missouri, it's just as important as SEPA was. It's just as important on that level. Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting.
That's fine. Yeah, if we can get that on the floor and work on it, then that'd be great. But man, we need to get some kind of pressure on Plocher.
Yep.
I mean, we just got to expose this dude, man. I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't a private conversation. I mean, so.
Yep. Well, I think,
public.
and I think it's up to us now at this point, and all the freedom organizations out there, guys. No one's going to make the phone calls for you. No one's going to send the emails for you. You have to get them done yourself. So please do consider. And once again, I'm sorry to keep asking you guys. This is the hot and heavy season that we're in right now. And we won't get much of a break either because we got to start. Oh, by the way, news on website coming up on Monday night. And I did meet with the web guy. So there's some stuff coming up on the website here pretty soon. But even today, I couldn't work on the website with the web guy because I was involved in phone calls all day today. So at any rate, please do make your phone calls, send your emails if you have a chance between now and the next one. And then we'll resume again on Tuesday. This is how it gets done, gang. This is the only way it gets done. If you can, I'm going to even make a bigger appeal. Those of you who are close to Jeff City, please visit Jeff City and literally go to Plocher's office. Call in advance, set up an appointment to talk to Plocher. So, he's a busy guy. But at the same time, at least you'll know people are making the trip. So there is a possibility.
So he claims.
Yeah. Well, actually, he's on the floor all the time. So actually, we know that.
Yeah.
Most of the reps are, by the way. So, and if you do make a trip to Jeff City, don't forget to visit your representative and your senator as well.
I was going to say, it's really huge for your representative because they are much more likely to come off the floor to talk to you than Plocher is. Yep. And they are equally as able to tell him that they're getting a bunch of people coming up to talk to them.
Yep. So the pressure is on Plocher and on your representative to pressure Plocher as well. So Plocher feels the pressure from two areas, from your phone calls and your emails, plus from your representative who you called up to complain about Plocher to. So
eventually, once I make my way up there, I need to have a little chitty chat with Bratton.
Yeah, we'll leave that for another time, though. Let's keep our focus right now. Let's keep our focus.
Yeah, that just popped into my head, man.
Okay, and so I'll tell you what. I'm going to ask people now if you guys can think of anything else. Oh, hang on. Someone's saying, "Hey, did I miss the good news?" We do have some good news, actually. Basically, we saw 1992, and that's the removal of sales tax from the grocery store, and 2009, I think, and 2018 all go to the formal calendar. So that doesn't mean we stop calling an emailing gang. That just means that it's been shifted from one priority to another. And so, but that is good news for us. That means, basically they're trying to at least make it look like they know they're getting calls and emails and visits on it. So, do we want to modify 1613? Yes, we do want to modify 1613, but I'll tell you what, I've talked to Tony today. They got that. They just needed pressure for Plocher to put it on the floor. And then they got 1613 already. I talked to the representative Lavasco about it today. So yeah, we're calling to get 1613 on the floor as well as 2118 on the floor, 2009 on the floor, 1992 on the floor, 2704. And I know that I'm rattling off numbers, gang, and I'm sorry. It was simple last year. We had a singular focus, and that was SEPA. And all you had to do was say SEPA, and everyone knew what it was. You didn't even have to know the bill numbers. It's a little different this year, and it's a little more complicated, and I'm sorry, but just know that I'm working just as hard behind the scenes, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So in this case, basically civil asset forfeiture is what we're calling 1613. Not what it's officially called. That's what we're calling it. But everything, once again, is linked down below in the description section. 2118 is one that we care about deeply as well. And so we definitely want to remember that in our phone calls and emails, along with 1613 and 1992 and 2009. And remember, gang, I just gave you some links tonight. The link to call, um, gosh darn it, I'm getting tired. The link to call the floor leader, Plocher. The link to call him is actually not the official Missouri link. It's the link to his campaign contributions. So but it has his phone number and his email address on there. So you guys, happy reading. You guys get to see who's pulling his strings. It's basically it's law enforcement, it's Missouri attorneys, it's banks in Missouri, and I think there's probably some from outside of Missouri too. And so all kinds of people donated to him, and then in the medical community too. And remember now, he is holding 2009, the very bill that the medical community is upset about right now. They don't want us to be able to religiously exempt our way out of the serum. And so, at any rate, okay, take of that what you will. But you guys have. Go ahead.
That's also a huge thing to remember. Tomorrow, you can search the MEX site for any of your reps or rep candidates and find out who's paying them as well. We have to have our reports in tomorrow, by tomorrow, for the April quarterly.
Hey, while we got Casey on here, because Casey knows something different from what I heard. Remember when I was talking to you how I talked at the House clerk today and asked him how the informal and formal calendars work?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember that, Patrick, when I
think so.
asked you? Okay. All right. I want to explain, what the House clerk told me, and Casey can either yay or nay it if he knows something different. But all right, as far as, what's on the formal and informal calendars, first of all, hang on, let me first of all, 1613 and 2009 are still on the informal calendar, and 2118 and 1992 are on the formal calendar. Now I'm going to show you how the House clerk explained to me this work as far as what Plocher can do, being the floor leader. All right, first of all, anything on the informal calendar, they don't have to address that in order. They can pull those up anytime they want and put them on the floor anytime they want. All right, now as far as the formal calendar, they have to go down that calendar in order. Let's say, okay, we'll just go with, say 2118. I'm going to pull that up. Okay, right now, currently it's on the formal calendar, and there are, for House bills for perfection, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bills in front of it. So if they were to just keep going straight down there, it would be the 6th bill in that queue to be addressed. But what the floor leader can do, or Plocher, if he wants, he can take away all 6 of these bills and put them back on the informal calendar, which would then bring 2118 up too, and then you can address it. Or if he wants to, he can go down all 6 of these. 2118 can be next. He can pull up a bunch of them from the informal calendar and put it up ahead of it. That's how it's explained to me by
that is
the House clerk.
accurate. Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially, the formal calendar gives you an idea of what you're going to be working on in a week. You're probably going to go through the bills on that calendar. If the leader if he likes something that's on the informal, he can throw it up. Or if he wants to distract you with something on the informal, he can throw it up.
Yes.
And he can also move things around. Really, he can move it around however he kind of picks.
Pretty much. I mean, there's certain rules about how he has to do it, but he can still with what he's available to him is he can pretty much do it however he wants. Like I said, he said he wants to kill 2018. Don't let its position in the queue fool you. He can switch that around if he wants. So we need to hammer this dude. We really got to go at him hard now and force him to put it up there.
Based on what you're telling me about him, or what you've told us about him, his blatant obstinance to be putting that up there, and how much money is affecting him, and how just absolutely what's what I'm looking for, deranged the guy is.
Yeah, I agree.
I think really pushing harder at him to push it up the calendar is just going to make him push it back further out of spite. I think really the only way to do is go directly after his career.
I think the better move is in general talking to your reps, and if you want to talk to leadership still, have the speaker put pressure on him.
Okay, my problem would be my representatives are both Democrats, so if I go to them saying, "Hey, you got to talk to Plocher, and make him put 2118 on the floor," he's probably not going to do that.
Good point.
Then I would recommend go to the speaker, talk to his office.
Vescovo. You know what? I was actually discussed today, and I was, because see, boy, I don't know. You don't want to talk about this on. You're going to be off. You're going to be in the chat after this. Is done, right? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. There's been lots of good things here in the YouTube chat I'd like to read. Abruhi said, KC, you did great. Thanks. You got the truth. Bottom line out of the horse's mouth. Unfortunately, not new. I pray that y'all can help with my nearly 57 years of the same. Warrior Class says, I'm going to send a private separate email for each bill since they have such a short attention span over an individual email. Warrior Class, that's actually a good idea. I didn't want to ask people to do separate emails for each bill, but if anyone who's willing to do it, I believe that helps. So please consider doing so if you're willing to do it, especially if you're only emailing your representative and Plocher. So a separate email for each bill, that would be roughly 10 emails.
A huge thing to remember on emails. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt again.
No, go ahead.
Make sure any future bills you're doing it on, make sure you're sending it from your email, because I can tell you one of the things that makes reps and LAs care the least is when they see it's all from just some random website.
We never do that. We don't do canned emails. Yeah. Everything's individual calls, emails. Everybody puts their thing to it.
Yep.
Yeah. You don't. If you just fill out a thing, that's phony. See, that's why these bills are so hot, because our people and everyone they talk to, that spread to it's them.
Yep.
They're not getting 50 canned emails that all say the same thing.
Yep. Except for maybe Aaron Doerr's organization, that does work that way.
Well,
so just as an example, that's correct. We don't do that. So good point. Let's see. Latanya says
quality over quantity.
Yep, that's right. Our entire government, local, feels so grossly incompetent. Well, I don't know if incompetent's the word. We have some corruption in Missouri, but once again, we can't get rid of it if we don't talk about it, if we don't expose it. So that's what we do. Can we get a link for that physicians page? I did type in, I'm not sure what you mean by physicians page. Ganai says, is it
American Physicians Association, I believe.
Oh, the Pediatrics Association?
Uh-huh.
Oh, American Pediatrics Association. Yes, I can get that. I'll get that for you in a minute. Ganai has a question. Hopefully Robert or Casey can answer. Is it true that Missourians have zero option of recalling anyone in our General Assembly, only those in Class 3 cities? So Casey and Robert?
So that's what it's looking like to me from reading the statute. I only knew a little bit more about that because one of my bosses back in the day was working on a recall bill, but got canned on that a little. That one got destroyed. So, of course, they don't love the idea of you being able to recall them.
Of course not.
No, they won't for sure. And that's the conclusion I came up to as I was reading further into it, as well as class 3 cities. And there's certain stipulations, but it's localities that can be recalled. So I think we really need to, I don't know about we as when I say we, I mean me and the mouse in my pocket, maybe push towards getting it where you can recall state reps. I mean, if they're not doing a good job and the Missouri Republican Party is just going to let anybody on the ballot, and it's a constitutional right that we should be able to, change our government as we see fit. So we should be able to change our representative as we see fit as well, if they're not going to do what we ask them to do.
Good point.
My idea was to go to the actual Republican offices and tell them that you'll just refuse to vote Republican until they clean their shit up.
Yeah. Yep.
That's another option,
That-
So
That
I
works.
do try to point that out in my area, like, hey, like protest, if the Republican Party won't do something, hire the right candidate. You gotta elect the right candidate,
Yeah.
no matter what they are.
Libertarian
If you-
straight ticket's always an option.
If you lean Republican, a huge thing that everyone ignores doing, but that has a whole lot of power on a county level, run for your central committee. Central committee, there's a vacancy in your county, that's who votes to fill the vacancy. If there's fundraising being done, that's who's probably going to be doing the most fundraising for Republicans.
Yep.
And every county has one.
Okay, Triple T is asking for a template. I'll tell you what, Triple T, hopefully this weekend I will have that done on our website. That's one of the things we're getting done is a document page. So the problem in the past, it just happened fairly recently, it was 2 weeks ago. I provided a template in our Discord group, and a young man came in and wanted to help. And I thought he understood the instructions of changing the words, and he didn't. He just changed his name at the bottom of the template and used the exact, which was my story. It wasn't a template first. It was my actual email I was sending out to everyone in the house. And so he sent it to the first 20 people. So I had to make a couple of phone calls and explain what happened, because it looked bad on me, because I had a very specific story in that email that he was sending off as well with his name on it. And there's no way that two people would have that same exact story. So, so at any rate, yep, we'll have that hopefully. And once again, maybe on Sunday, or not Sunday, I keep saying Sunday, I mean Monday. On Monday, maybe we'll talk about some of the new features we'll have on our website. And once again, this is a slow process, gang, because it's just my lack of time. The guy who does our web does it literally for free, and he doesn't have a lot of time either. So we try to be very efficient with our time with what we do with the website. Okay, let's see. Anything else here? So Triple T, hang in there. We'll hopefully have a template ready for you on hopefully by Monday, maybe a little sooner. Okay, it looks like we're caught up on the YouTube side. Okay, guys, any other unfinished business before we wrap up?
Can I do a shameless self-promotion real quick?
Absolutely, Casey, go for it.
Awesome. The 22nd, if anyone's around Montauk County, California, Missouri, we're about 30 minutes west of Jeff. I'm doing a chili dog fundraiser. Would love to have you come out. Love to talk about fighting for freedom and liberty in the state of Missouri, and have some chili dogs while we're doing it.
Hey, that sounds good. Chili dogs on the 22nd. That's this month?
Yes, sir. Okay,
gotcha. Okay, so 22nd this month, California, Missouri, chili dogs and freedom and liberty fundraiser for Casey Pemberton, who is actually running to be, what's that district, 125?
District 58.
58, I'm
Montauk
sorry.
and Morgan counties.
Gotcha. So for those of you who are interested in going, please consider doing so. We certainly couldn't hurt the state of Missouri to have a liberty-minded folk, getting elected in 2022. And there's a lot of folks I hope we get to replace in 2022 that are not liberty-minded people currently in the legislature. And we're losing some liberty-minded folk because they're terming out. So we need people, good people in office to replace them. So, and surveys are coming, gang. I'm sorry, it's a website deal. So hang in there. They're coming. Okay. And I believe Robert is running for office too. Robert?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead and let us know. Let's see. Do you have any events coming up as you're running for office?
Well, this coming up, I will be at the Rich Hill Chamber of Commerce meeting. I've kind of been going around to the local chamber meetings and seeing what everybody's been thinking about, what's on their mind. I went to mine, and they were, at the economic forum that I went to here in Nevada, they wanted to, they were actually, everybody was in favor of raising the county tax. So I was like, well, what can we do other than raise taxes? And I brought up, and we went through our little dealio, and then I went to the El Dorado Chamber of Commerce today, and it was very productive. I didn't know they were going to let me speak, but they asked me to say a few words, and we talked about my ideas of exercising the 10th Amendment and actually trying to kick the federal government out of here more and keep money local, and it seemed to be really receptive, and it was a very good chamber meeting, and I don't know. That's pretty much what I just go to these local meetings and just been kind of getting to know business leaders and innovators and idea makers, and seeing what we could do, because that's what I've been seeing at these chamber meetings, and it's good to get to know the people that want to improve their city, and I like to. My goal is to actually try to cut taxes on the state and federal level. We can't really do anything on the federal level, but I really want to challenge how much our federal government wastes our money. And they left pallets of cash in Afghanistan along with tanks and military equipment, and that type of squandering should not be tolerated. So we really need to start making a big fuss and a stink about it. And I'd really like to see our local our money being kept local, so that way people can invest in the communities the way they see fit. And it's really receptive. People are like, I like that idea, because these cities and the counties, they're strapped for money, and it would be, I want to try to start up the idea of people voluntarily doing things and voluntarily helping fund projects that the community sees as a benefit, rather than forced taxation. Because when I was at the Nevada Economic Forum, everybody there, even another Republican candidate himself, said verbatim, I don't like taxes just as much as the next guy, but it's a necessary evil. And that is just a poor mentality. So,
Robert,
no.
do you read Rothbard?
No.
Okay. You're familiar with the history of charity in this nation, aren't you?
No.
Okay, gotcha. I'll tell you what, we'll talk about that offline sometime, because what you're
Yeah, that
talking
works for
about
me.
are the good ideas that were squandered by high taxation in the United States. We had great charities in the United States. They took care of the needs of the poor, but the government came in and started taxing and started taking over what churches and charities did. And I'm sure, Casey, you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Yep. And it's a fascinating story of how government literally chased charity out of the business of charity and replaced it with a system of tyranny.
Well, I've said multiple times, everything they do funnels us to them.
Yeah.
I'm everything. So we
Just
got to
a
stop that.
quick example that's fairly local to us. We had a Masonic lodge who, a woman, her husband died, and she didn't want to be seen accepting charity. Didn't want, to be seen as being unable to provide for herself. The lodge bought a cow and like 4 chickens and said, "It's not charity. You're taking care of the cow and chickens. They're yours. But you have to do the work. You have to take care of it. We'll do all the rest."
Yep. Okay, gang. Well, I'll tell you what, we're at the 2 hour mark just about. So 1 hour, 58 minutes.
And
So,
that went quick.
yep, it
Yeah,
sure
it did.
did. This was actually, this went fast for me too. Guys, I want to thank everyone on YouTube, and everyone who watches us after the live stream is over, who actually puts up with 2 hours of us talking about freedom and liberty and what we can do to fix Missouri. Thank you. And those of you who are about ready to get ready on phone calls and emails, you guys are the ones who are keeping Missouri free. And so I want to say thank you to all of you. I will do my emails and phone calls too. So everyone who joined us on Discord, thank you very much. This was a great podcast. This was awesome. And I want to say a particular thank you to Ben, who came in earlier today from Show Me Integrity. And
Yeah, it's too bad he didn't hang around.
he couldn't. He told me that even before we started. So, and of course, thank you to Casey and to Robert Smith for having the courage to run for office and talking about liberty, making that your platform. Because
I'm not running for office.
I'm sorry, Casey.
Oh,
Pam.
the other one. Never
Yeah,
mind,
the other
kid.
Casey. Yep. Because you guys exemplify what's wrong with the current system. And so that takes a lot of courage to run when you're actually pointing out the faults in the system the way you guys do. And so thank you very much for that. Thank you to the Missouri Liberty Report. Remember now, he's partnered with us. If you guys want to watch his channel, and I highly recommend you sub if you haven't, Missouri Liberty Report is listed right down below in the description section. Also, Casey Rich's SEPA Central is also partnered with the Missouri Freedom Initiative, also down in the description section. Let's give everyone some love here who's trying to make Missouri as free as humanly possible. Let's support them as much as we can. Guys, changes coming to the website. We should be able to announce and show next Monday night when we gather again. So final words, anybody?
Hey,
Thank you for having me on.
Go ahead, Casey.
I was just saying thank you.
You bet.
I was going to mention John's Missouri Liberty Report is a great show. He has a lot of good candidates on there, and you go over a lot of information. And it's, you got some good jokes, and it's a really great show. So, go ahead and check him out sometime if you're just driving around and you got time to follow him. He's a pretty good guy.
Yep, I agree. I am also sub to the Liberty Report, and I participate when I can on his Friday live streams. And so thanks again, everyone, for joining us. Guys, as always, we'll be in the Discord for at least half an hour. So if you wanted to come in and talk to us live in the Discord when we're not live on YouTube, you're fully welcome to do so. We have some great conversations after the show.
Yeah, I think you guys should really come here in Discord tonight. It'd be a good thing.
Yep. So, all right. So thanks again. Thank you to Latanya, Triple T, Voodoo, Ganai, let's see, and Aburi, or however you pronounce your name. I'm sorry, I probably slaughtered it.
Aburi, that's
Aburi.
yeah, that's yeah.
Okay.
That's my mom actually.
Okay, gotcha. Hey, Mom. And Warrior
Hi,
Class
Mom.
3, and all of you guys who are helping make, and Rhino 76, all of you guys that are helping make Missouri free. Guys, it's us. We do it, and it's because of you. So thank you once again. May God bless each and every one of you. We won't see you before Easter, so have a wonderful Easter. Remember, have a wonderful time with your families, and let's pray for world peace, and let's pray for liberty in the state of Missouri. You guys take care. See you.
Yeah, and come into the chat. There's some things I was wanting to say but couldn't say on air.
There you go. You guys can come
On
into
the
the
chat,
chat and
guys.
hear some
Pause,
private,
Casey.
secret, cloak and
Just-
dagger stuff. Right
There
here
you
in our
go.
chat, right now,
That's
right
right.
after I hit end stream. Come on
Come
into
come
the
on
Discord.
and get in the chat.
The water's warm. We'll see you there. Take care, gang.